Welcome to Events Heist, the podcast game show about post-COVID events and the event professionals that run them. In this episode, you're going to hear from Joe Pine and James Wallman. Joe Pine is the co-founder of Strategic Horizons and the author of The Experience Economy. He has run over 1,000 events, with the largest at 12,000 people. He shares the weirdest thing he's ever eaten at an event and his 4-level model for hybrid events. Our other guest, James Wallman, is the founder of World Experience Organization and the author of Time and How to Spend It. Hear about how James misses flying to events and his favorite event venue of all, a natural hot spring in Iceland. Joe, could you kick off by introducing yourself with your name, title, and company?
Sure. I'm Joe Pine, co-founder of Strategic Horizons, LLP, and author of The Experience Economy.
James, over to you.
I'm James Wallman. I am the founder of the World Experience Organization and the author of Time and How to Spend It.
All right, Joe, you rolled a 5.
All right.
Good roll. Good roll.
All right, so Joe, how many events have you done in your professional career?
Oh my goodness. I would never be able to count them, but I would say over 1,000.
Wow. Okay, so James, over to you. You've rolled a 6.
Yes.
James,
I don't understand why Joe went first. We didn't roll the dice to find out who went first.
Hey. I'm your senior. Just
Yeah, but surely the youngest player goes first. We have this game at home, and with my
No. Well, when you're kids, but now that we're adults, you bow to your elders, James.
When did that happen? Is that what you do with your?
It's purely because we invited Joe first, and Joe nominated you to be the second player. So it's purely
because he knew he'd
for
win
that reason.
And this is what I get in return.
Yes. So James, how many years have you been an events professional?
Well, I gave my first talks when I was a holiday rep back in about 98. So you could either take it from 98, and then I gave some talks when I worked in internet advertising in the early noughts. And then doing the stuff that I do now, 2007 was the first talks that I gave.
Joe, you've rolled a 5.
That dice is loaded. That's 2 5s in a row.
So Joe, what's the biggest event that you've organized or been part of?
I did an event at an arena once with 12,000 people in it. And the weird part was with that many people, you couldn't give them bathroom breaks. There aren't bathrooms big enough, right, for that many people. It's like you had a basketball game, which means people are always moving around, getting up because they got to go to the bathroom or get something to drink in that. And so it was that really threw me off a little bit, as to be talking and have so much movement going on. And then in terms of my own events, the biggest one we ever staged was a little over 100 people, maybe 120 people. We ran an event called Think About for 20 years. That was Jim Gilmore, my partner, and my opportunity to practice what we preach and give events to stage an event for experienced stagers.
Okay, over to you, James. You rolled a 3.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not competitive.
I knew I wanted the 3. I was hoping
up the ladder.
3.
Very nice.
All right.
How many events have you done in your professional career?
I think probably between like 50 and 100. Real keynote, giving talks. In terms of virtual events, that's a pretty new thing for me. I'd say 20, 30, 40, where I've given keynotes or the ones that I've run.
So Joe, have you met any celebrities on the job?
Right. The one that comes immediately to mind in an actual event was Magic Johnson. And I'm a huge Lakers fan. I've been a Lakers fan since elementary school. And we were both speaking at an event. I think it was in Las Vegas, actually, but it was a California, Nevada Credit Union Association or something like that.
I want to hear about Howard Stern. Howard Stern is a personal hero. That guy's awesome.
Oh, well, actually, real quick, because it's interesting, is that so I'm on the aisle. He's on the aisle opposite me, right, in first class on a flight to or from Cleveland, and I'm reading, and I don't say anything to him, and I'm reading The Economist, and The Economist, this was a long time ago, had an article about him and his book, right? I just thought it's amazing. So I wait till I'm done reading the magazine. I take it and I fold it over and I hand it across the aisle. I say, Mr. Stern, you might find this of interest. And he looks at it and goes, oh, thank you very much. I mean, just the nicest, kindest, just like, it was unbelievable. He did not shock jock me at all.
All right, so I'll count that as a lifeline. And so, Joe, you can move up to where James is.
Hold on, it was just a question.
You got to understand the rules,
how it
James.
works.
Look at
This is the die.
I
The
love
die
it.
is weighted. The
We're
questions are
cooperating, James. We're helping each other.
fine.
Get up there.
I'm helping
I'll
you
give
here.
you a lifeline later.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
if
the
I
get
good
ahead.
part, James, is you do get another
Another turn.
question and another turn.
Yes.
So, James, tell us about how you got into events.
I worked for a company called the Future Laboratory in London, and I was the editor there, running their future forecasting business. And we were producing content, and then we did events. And so it was an opportunity to go, to tell people in that way.
All right, Joe, it's your turn. You rolled a 1, and I think you're going down the manhole.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Joe, tell us about what you love or hate about events.
I love events and the fact that they bring people together, introduce new ideas to them, give them things that they can go about to do in their daily lives. I hate about events. One thing I think events could do better certainly is to provide more time for people to talk to each other, as opposed to listen to the so-called sage on the stage.
Okay, well, let's ask you the same question. What do you love or hate about events?
I love events because events are ancient. So events are a wonderful opportunity to have a kind of, not just a melting pot, but almost, if you picture a kind of wizard or a magician throwing stuff into a pot and explosions coming out. I think that's what events can do.
Change in tone here. Tell us about your favorite post-event junk food or drink, Joe. Or both.
What I like to do post-event is have a celebratory cigar.
Describe the moment that you knew COVID was going to turn the events industry upside down.
I think I felt that way all throughout February last year. I think I just had this, it was coming, and I was giving a TEDx talk late February, and I really wanted to do it. The guy organizing it, this guy called Herb Kim, is really lovely, and I wanted it to go ahead. Late February, I think I knew it was coming. I remember the first week in March when we had lockdown. I think I spent a lot of the week lying on my back, looking up either in the garden or indoors at the sky or the ceiling, and saying to my wife, I need a new strategy.
All right, over to you, Joe. You rolled a 1. Oh, you nice one. The moment you knew COVID was going to turn everything upside down.
Well, it was first week in March last year. I'm doing an event in Berkeley, California. Spoke there, and on the flight out of Oakland, California, I'm reading the USA Today newspaper. An article in the USA Today was first confirmed case of COVID in Berkeley, California. I went, uh-oh.
So, James, what do you miss the most about live events, and what do you not miss?
I miss the flights to get there. I love flying. Being in a metal tube, flying through the air, doing something that most humans didn't get to do until the 60s or 70s. This is even today, the majority of people don't get to fly. It's a privilege. I love flying. I don't like panels very much. Panels are so boring. Oh my gosh, just sort of that awful thing where everyone's really nice to each other and the moderator is really nice and nobody interrupts. And there's this, I like when people disagree. I like to hear people who are interesting and see people say stuff that's interesting, but panel seems to be this thing that makes people go, ugh.
What's the most stressful event you've done?
It would have to be the TED Talk that I did in California in 2004. You can still obviously watch it over the line. It's amazing to me that over 1 million people have watched this TED Talk. And it was partly because it was the time. In my case, they gave me 15 minutes back then, not 18 minutes. And I sort of had it semi-memorized, but not enough that I didn't need the crutch of having some cards with me, because I couldn't, and I did have some slides, but like there was no confidence monitor to let you know what was going on with the slides and that.
All right, James, you'll go. You rolled a 2. And James.
Oh,
James. Eye off the ball and boom, back down to the start. James, what's your favorite type of event?
I did a TEDx talk in Manchester. There were 2,400 people. That's the most I've given a talk to. And it was a huge auditorium. They do concerts there and stuff. Not long before I went on, the woman who was involved with running it, she'd heard, or I talked to her about this thing where I was going to get people to talk and then to dance. And she's like, I don't think they're going to do it. Have you done this before? And I was like, and she was like, look, you're going to look really stupid. I'm like, yeah. And then I went, But imagine if they don't. That's going to be even funnier, you know?
I don't see
So
how
I
that would be
think-
funnier. Not for you.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing, right? When things go wrong, I think they are funny.
What's your favorite venue? Sounds like you've been to many, many venues. What's your favorite?
Well, yeah, I'm feeling really sorry for James. So I'm giving him a lifeline to join me up here and let him answer his favorite venue, which will probably be a 2,400 seat theater in Manchester.
It was one of those natural pools in Iceland. I was with Design Hotels, and we were in Iceland for like this 4-day thing, and I gave some talks in a few different places. And one of those was, I think I was drinking. Yeah, everybody had a beer. We're all in our swimmers. I don't know what you guys call that. You call it thongs down. No, thong is not that. No, thong is different in different countries, isn't it? But anyway, let's leave that.
How did you find the switch to virtual during COVID?
I still, it's harder to get that energy. You get energies from audiences, and that's a beautiful thing about being live. And I've got to generate that myself when I'm doing it. But so I never think they're as good, but I do a good job of generating that energy and being able to give a good performance online. So it's certainly good. It's never going to be great, but it's certainly good. People get the value out of it.
So what about you, James? Virtual events, are you a fan, not a fan?
I think I'm similar to Joe here. Live, in person, it's really hard. There's times when what you can see on the screen is the deck that you're presenting, and there are, I don't know, a couple of hundred people on the other end, but you don't see what the response is. And I'm quite a interactive presenter. I don't just kind of like talk at people. I mean, you get that impression from that TEDx thing with getting people to dance and tell stories. But I like to feed off the energy, but also I want to make sure that they're keeping up with me and the pace is right.
Okay, Joe, have you read anything recently you'd like to share with other event professionals?
So I wrote what we call a thoughts post, so a blog post that's on our website at strategichorizons.com on hybrid events. And basically I provide a model of 4 different levels. And I actually think that going hybrid is better than just doing a physical event, because you could reach so many more people. You'll make more revenue. You'll reach more people. You'll have a greater impact than you do in just doing the old physical event.
James, what's the weirdest food you've ever eaten at an event? You can lifeline, James.
I'm going to have to do a lifeline because I don't know if I've eaten anything particularly weird in an event. Joe, lifeline.
Pork penises.
Pork penises.
There's no such thing as a pork penis. Surely it's a pork penis, pig penis. Hold on. You ate a pig penis.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Hold on, just the one, or how many pig penises did you eat?
No, one's enough. One's enough.
With sauce, or how did you have it?
With white sauce, yeah.
Oh.
Who's your favorite speaker, dead or alive?
Joe. Oh no, I can't say Joe's on the call. Martin Luther King is good. He's got a background as a preacher, so he has that background. And there's the wonderful bit. If you watch the speech on YouTube, he wasn't going to give that speech. That I have a dream. It's a speech that he'd given before, but he wasn't going to give that speech on the day. And in the background, you can hear this woman saying, "Tell him about your dream, Martin. Tell him about your dream." And it's just, I'm welling up just thinking about it. It's so powerful. It's such a the structure of the speech is so incredible.
Joe, over to you.
Wow.
You rolled a 12. Oh, back down. If you could give one piece of advice for planning a great event in this post-COVID world, what would it be?
Well, it would be follow my model for hybrid events
okay.
that I talked about.
Awesome.
I think if you follow that, I think you'll be able to create a great event that has more impact than you did before.
What trends do you see occurring in the industry?
So this WXO, this World Experience Organization, brings together people like Joe and other people around the world who are in the experiences business. And I think what makes this really interesting is how you've got somebody in UX and somebody in immersive coming together to share ideas. And what that's doing is creating, there's a guy called Ben Honeycutt who talks about the idea of a eudaimonic technology for creating better experiences. And I genuinely believe this is where we are. If you go back to the 1920s and 1930s at the birth of consumerism, you can see how since that time, products have got a lot better. the explosion of creativity. And I think what we're going to see over the next years, and I think COVID's been fantastic in forcing us all to kind of get to grips with technology, because the opportunities in hybrid, which Joe has laid out fantastically through those 4 different levels, is going to be really exciting to see. So even let's take what we're doing here now, Fab. Thank you so much for having us on.
What's your favorite event war story?
We were in Keystone, Colorado. We had Tom Peters come, and we went to the top of the Keystone Conference Center. We didn't hold it in the conference center. We hold it on top of the conference center. So it was a guru in the mountain in the background sort of thing. And then we did this event where we arranged all this outside activities. And as we had started this, and it was running for a while, and people were doing all these different outdoors experiences, and then you could see the clouds coming down the valley of this snowstorm that hit us with snow and sleet that was going sideways on us and just ruined everything.
What's your favorite TV show at the moment?
It's always the US version of The Office. Yeah, I'm about I jump in around, depends on which season I'm in the mood for. I love it. It makes it, the UK version original. I have the DVDs. I was a real fan of that years ago. But it's very awkward. It's very awkward comedy.
Joe, if you could have an unlimited supply of just one thing during an event, what would it be?
It would have to be knowledge.
That's deep. James, do you have any good event war stories?
Yeah, okay. I was in New York and I was giving a talk for WeWork, and oh my God, the traffic was horrific. And I think I was like 40 minutes late. And I ended up, getting in this cab, getting out the cab, trying to get one of those bikes and sort of running. It was awful.
Joe, you rolled a 14.
Oh, look at that. Where'd he go?
Oh!
When do you think live events will return in your region?
I think by end of summer.
Which is when? Because our
sun
is different.
You're in Australia,
We're
Fab.
deep
real
in winter.
Summer, real summer ends in September.
All right, excellent.
And possibly a few before that.
Okay, James, you rolled a 5, and you are in the mint.
Yay, James!
If you were to run your own event anywhere in the world on any subject, tell us about it.
Maybe right now, maybe Vegas for Meow Wolf. Maybe that would be really fun. I think it'd be really fun. There's a new experience that the Royal Opera House is doing in London that's opera mixed with virtual reality. And I really love heightened experience. And I think the heightened experience of opera, plus, the kind of very intense feeling you can get with VR, it would be, a fantastically gamified, immersive experience that was also real.
You've rolled a 6, so you're in the mint as well. Do you have time for one last question?
Sure.
All right, same question. The Joe event, fantasy, the fantasy event, wherever you want it, whatever format, what would it look like?
Boy, I wasn't thinking you'd ask me the same question. So my fantasy place would be Pebble Beach. Just get in that environment, get out, I'd love to take everybody on a 17-mile drive, mission feed tourism experience in there. For those that play golf, you got to play a round of golf. Otherwise, just walking on the beach in that environment and just as a setting for great conversations.
Thanks so much for being guests of Event Heist. It's been absolutely amazing having you on, both.
It's been fabulous.
Indeed.